Welcome back to the channel. We are going to get everything prepped for wiring. So I did a couple things already with the coolant sensor here, and then I did a drill and tap on the intake to get the intake air temp in, as well as mounted all the coil packs already. So that's all done. We are going to move on into the interior, and we're going to strip down the cab entirely of all the wiring. The original wiring, we decided to rewire everything, so we're going to do that and then work on getting all the gauges mounted and start figuring out where everything's going to live. Alright, so this is everything got to mount. We got to find a mount for the ECU and the relays and fuses that go with it. And then we got to find a mount for all the gauges and the dash setup. It's a lot of gauges, so it's going to be interesting to fit them all. But we got a tach, speedometer, fuel sender, so fuel gauge, and then just a voltmeter, water temp, oil pressure, and a wideband. I already stripped down all the wiring from the engine bay, and there was a lot of issues that we found in the factory wiring. So we will be pulling all of this factory wiring out and doing all new wiring. We also have a marine style barrel heater that will hook up to the heater core, so we can have heat in this thing, so we got to mount that as well underneath the dash. Alright, with all this stuff having to mount in the cab, we are going to strip down the cab. We'll pull all of this stuff out because the floor needs some fixing anyways, and then we got to redo the whole center console assembly as well as the dash and pull the wiring out. So we're just going to strip it all down and restart. Alright, got all the wiring fully stripped out. All that's left is the little bit of wiring on the radio and the amp over there. Pulling up the carpet, it was all glued down. Found quite a bit more rust, never fun. This looks like just like sound deadening, and when you pull it up there's rust underneath all of it. So always a little bit of work turned into a lot of work. Another problem with rust in this area is, well, it's the body mount, but the body mount doesn't matter because, well, it's a slider, but the seat mounts are here. So we're going to have to fix all that and come up with something to mount the seats so it's safe. That's where the seat mount was, and it's rusted all the way through, so that's cool. Then I have to pull all the rest of that stuff off, all the way through, across, and see what else is hiding. Well, I got the whole floor stripped down. That wasn't quite the plan, but after finding some rust, figured I'd strip it all down. So there is some rust up in this corner. All the tunnel and that corner as well as the back corner have been replaced. So this side also has a bunch of rust, so we're gonna have to see how far that goes because that's where the seatbelt mounts were. All this floor panel has already been replaced. and I found a ton of water underneath all this stuff. So probably gonna have some more rust issues underneath some of these panels, so we're gonna have to kind of dig how far it goes and get it all fixed so it's all good to go. All right, so putting all that stuff aside, let's start working on actually mounting some things, and that way we know where we're going to run wires to. It actually sounds like we're not going to use this, so we're going to wait and see on that, but we can still mount all the gauges and the ECU, and we are going to end up like pulling this panel and then pulling this panel as well. We'll move the radio. This center console situation is going to get redone anyways, so we're going to start with getting these couple things stripped down and then start putting things back in. All right, we're going to cut these couple tacks, get this panel removed, get this panel removed, and the radio removed. Alright, got all that stripped down, a little bit of cleanup, but we're going to make this panel real quick and see how many gauges we can fit in there. Alright, so that's mimicking a Toyota Tacc, miles per hour and tach, and then voltmeter, fuel, oil, and coolant. That'll fit all these gauges, and then we still have this gauge, which we can't fit on this panel, but it's a different gauge anyways, it doesn't match, so I think it'll look good being on its own. That's the panel. It's going to go right in the dash. Got to make a couple mounts, and that's what it looks like inside the dash. Alright, so I got some rib nut tabs in there. So now this panel will slide right in and bolt up. The gauge panel is complete. Alright, we got the gauge panel all mounted up. Everything cleaned out of the cab. A bunch of miscellaneous stuff getting ready for wiring in the engine bay, as well as swapped out a couple sensors for the gauges. So, thanks for watching.